Welcome to The Weekly Trend, a podcast for navigating the markets through the lens of technical analysis. The Weekly Trend podcast is provided for educational purposes only and does not constitute any professional advice. Listeners should not act upon the information or content without first seeking advice from a registered financial planner.
Welcome back to the Weekly Trend podcast. Today is Friday, August 29th, 2025. S&P 500 currently sitting at 64.52. I'm David Zarling, and I'm here with a guy always ready in case he needs to be president, Ian McMillan.
I don't know what that was all about, JD, but okay.
JD Vance, ready to go.
Everyone know. Just in case, you know. I mean, just in case. In theory, should Trump be deemed unhealthy? I'm ready to go, guys. I'm ready to go.
JD,
okay.
that wasn't the question.
JD, no one asked. Anyways, should have done this podcast yesterday. Number would have been higher.
Yeah.
For the S&P. We are down a little bit today, but it's early. Still overall, I mean, pretty good week, I would say. We had a really strong Friday last week. It's not like we've given any of that back. Kind of just still in the same area.
Yeah, and I think some consolidation in semiconductors probably is not a bad idea, and that's such a large weighting now that's going to impact an index like S&P 500. On the flip side, you have financials going out to new all-time highs. How bearish can that be?
Yeah. I think it gives more support to the rotation theory. I mean, now you can look at a chart of NASDAQ versus Russell or NASDAQ versus S&P and have the same takeaway. But I think it's important that it's not outperformance to the downside. Yeah, I mean, we've got definitely some areas getting hit hard today. And you have XLF. And the banks in general have looked really good, especially the bigger ones. And then you had Bank of America, I know, got to multi-year highs this week. But like your JP Morgan's, Goldman, all that's been pretty healthy for a while. Regionals, still some work to do.
Yeah. Right. JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs, some of the bigger ones looking pretty good. I don't know how bearish you can get if those are looking good. Yes, semiconductors weak this week, but they've had a run and it's okay for that to consolidate. Yeah. And you see things like equal weight S&P holding its breakout, microcaps holding its breakout, Dow Jones holding its breakout. So even though you have one red day, one day does not make a trend, and it's pretty quality information if these things can hold their breakouts. And especially, heading into a month like September, which is, we've talked about seasonality probably ad nauseum the last 4 or 5 episodes, and it didn't really come to fruition for August. And so you sit up and take notice. And if you get, September's notoriously even weaker than August, seasonality speaking. And if we hold up here, man, what does that say about what the last part of the year could look like?
Yeah, it's definitely a grinding market. I mean, there's divergences aplenty out there, and you kind of wonder, right? We've had a few little spooks in regards to price action during August, but market found a way to grind higher. I mean, not a ton higher.
So when you say spooks, you mean volatility, not like the CIA?
Yeah. I mean, well, we had the end of, we had the gap down on August 1st. And I think that had a lot of people like, oh, here we go. Yeah. And then, we spent literally the entire month just grinding higher. Now we had I guess there was a little like a red week there and, a couple of weeks ago, but that's just the market, not if you're waiting for the 5-10% correction to get in, you certainly have not been awarded that yet. In fact, we had new all-time highs yesterday. So, pretty strong market. I mean, when you look at breadth underneath the surface, I was going through some advanced decline lines yesterday.
Did you let Kate know that you were doing that?
I didn't know. It's a secret. I have to tell her I'm sneaking off to the bathroom. I got to go outside and fix that leaky hose faucet. And then I go outside and hide behind the bushes on my phone. And I look up AD charts.
Advanced decline line charts. Babe, I have a confession. I've been looking at breath charts.
You know when I tell you I go downstairs tonight to play video games? I don't.
I'm sorry,
Yeah.
Ian. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
I mean, you look at it's healthy. I'm not saying not every day can be a big green handle. It does feel a little lethargic. I mean, you can definitely go through some charts. Like, I hate to say this, but even like a Palantir, it just feels a little like we're running out of steam, which is fine, right? It's kind of like when your football team is 14-0 and then they lose one, and you're like, oh, this sucks. But then you're like, we're still 14-1. That's kind of like a lot of these strong momentum stocks not keeping up the last few weeks. They haven't been terrible,
Right.
but definitely more sideways. So we'll see. It'll be interesting to see if we get some shifts in momentum and kind of the sub-industry weightings within the ETF. I think that'll be cool to see.
Yeah, no, it will be. And I think that's a great segue to highlight the Adaptive Select ETF listed on the New York Stock Exchange under ticker ADPV, which helps investors access two of the most prevalent factors in markets: momentum and relative strength. Using proprietary identification methods, the Adaptive Select ETF attempts to own the strongest 25 large cap stocks when the market is in an uptrend. And since not all market environments are the same, Adaptive Select seeks to prevent extended declines by moving to short-term treasury bills and cash during long-term market downtrends. Investors can find out more, including how to invest in ADPV, by visiting adpvetf.com or calling 1-833-880-5200. Investing involves risk, including possible loss of principal. ADPV is distributed by Quasar Distributors, LLC. And I think that's interesting what you just said there, Ian, regarding maybe some tilts. I think we could talk a little bit about, and not necessarily talk our book. All of it would be public information. You can go on the website and see the positioning. Did you have something you were thinking of specifically as far as tilts there, or not necessarily?
No, I would say nothing in regards to that has changed a ton. I mean, it's still, actually, Dave, now I take that back, because the ETF actually doesn't have a huge weighting to tech.
Correct. And that started happening about, 4 or 5 weeks ago?
I was going to say a month ago, yeah. And we wrote about it in the July recap that came out early. I think it's like 11% tech.
Correct.
I might be off on that, but it's somewhere around there, right? And now you've got the S&P at over 30% tech. So, and yet it's been able to keep up with the market.
Yeah, and those listings, you can go to adpvetf.com. You can go to go to the news, read the July recap, which talks about less tech and more torque. And in there it talks about the holdings recap and weightings and how it is and what it looks like. And it's interesting to see that shift that took place a few months ago away from tech. And here we are seeing some areas of tech like semiconductors consolidate. I don't want to sit here and raise alarm bells that the sky is falling because semiconductors are consolidating, but it is an interesting catch by the strategy. Good point.
We've had good. There's been others that like random stuff that has. Now we've talked about gold and gold miners for a while.
Yeah.
On here, they continue to look pretty good. In fact, I think gold looks like it's going to go the way that most trend followers would tell you, right? So we had this consolidation going since mid-April. Breaking out of that, we talked about a couple weeks ago that gold miners themselves had already broken higher out of the consolidation. So that's probably a decent clue that market participants also think gold is going higher. So we've got that confirmation. Home builders have been strong the last few weeks.
Well, and even if you look at GDX, the ETF for gold miners, like we're on the verge. We're not there, but on a new monthly closing high for that ETF all time. We're right there.
Has never happened in a bear market for gold miners.
And then you look at the silver miners
Silver miners look good
on an absolute basis. Pretty doggone good. So that is interesting to see those do so well, and you got to sit up and take notice. And in some cases, you can't say basic materials overall, but when you look in the materials space and you see miners doing that, and even some rare earth metals or green metals doing well, it's a theme.
Definitely. You got to pay attention. I would say the aerospace space theme continues to be very strong.
Yeah, space, like I want to say telecom, but what we're really talking about is like satellite communications.
Not Ericsson. This is not Ericsson from 1998.
Remember those?
Yeah, that was the first ever Panthers stadium sponsor was Ericsson.
Really?
Yeah. I'm pretty sure it was the first one. Before they were Bank of America Stadium, I'm pretty sure it was Ericsson.
Wow. Wild. Things change, man. The gold and gold miners, rare earth metals, space, anything else? What else? You touch space on home builders?
Home builders, jets, cars. Well, ADPV bought Ford. Yeah, it's great today. And a pretty nasty day for the indices.
Yeah.
So, you see those, pockets of... Yeah, they don't do a lot for the major indices, right? Because everyone knows tech is really kind of the tailwind or headwind.
Right, it's such a large weighting. A large weighting.
Foreign stocks have continued to be very strong. China's green today.
China. I can't believe you said that. That's very offensive.
It is. You mentioned silver, gold, energies. It's been pretty beaten down, but it's somewhat of an intriguing relative chart. Maybe a failed breakdown going on there. It's still pretty terrible long-term relative chart. Right. So don't get excited. And
the largest weighting there I find fascinating, the ExxonMobil, when you look at the absolute chart and how that has been consolidating above prior highs from 2014 and 2008. It's been consolidating since basically 23, 24, and almost on year 3.
I would say we're almost like a month away from 3 years.
Yeah, that's a really nice consolidation to hold the highs like this.
What if it's a top? What if this is like it could be around the top, man.
Could be.
Maybe we're going to go full solar.
Technicians would be saying consolidation should resolve in the direction of the primary trend. And so it'd be really great information if it did break down. And you bring up the relative chart. Like if you look at XOM versus S&P, that's been discounted since beginning of 2023 on a relative basis, and kind of an interesting weekly candle this week.
Yeah.
Is that the false breakdown that you were just talking about? Maybe. Because, if energy is going to go, it's got to have things like ExxonMobil, Chevron pulling its weight. And even, look at Chevron's absolute chart. Was that a false breakdown 4 weeks ago? My goodness.
Kind of like industrials, man. We got to have some of these. You have some bigger players going. I said a tweet out a few weeks ago. It would be a great time to be industrials portfolio manager because there is a lot of relative strength. But yeah, like your Caterpillars and stuff don't do a ton. Caterpillars aren't too bad. Looks better than broad industrials, I guess.
But even, what I find a little bit fascinating is year to date, XLI is the best performing sector.
Golly, I would have lost that bet 1 trillion times.
Yes. So your best performing sectors year to date, industrials, communication services, technology. Your worst performing sectors, real estate, discretionary, staples.
I was wondering, I guess because of the aerospace thing, is that how industrials is doing it?
Yeah, let's take a look. If we look inside industrials, right, we could do a top down. If you look year to date, your strongest contributors, General Electric, GE Vernova, and I believe that is that's a space thing.
Yep. Maybe we're all getting jets.
That'd be cool. Take a rocket to work.
That's what we're pricing in.
Yeah, it's a lot of aerospace and defense. Uber's in here. Not
Having a decent
not having a bad year.
year. Yeah.
But definitely a aerospace and defense theme out of industrials. And you look at the defense ETFs like Missile and Shield and ITA. So that doesn't really scream risk off if we're liking satellites and things like that.
Solar's been Tan's been pretty strong lately.
Yep.
I guess trying, yeah.
Would that be something if
it had a good during Trump's first term?
First term is the last 2 years of his first term. Yeah. That was rip roaring. It's almost like the market is a future.
Tan literally peaked. Now, I guess you could say the whole market did January 2021.
Yeah.
Well, no, it wasn't until 22. So you had literally solar peaked.
Inauguration
of Biden.
Yep.
Got whacked. And then is now back on an uptrend with Trump in office. Isn't that fascinating?
Markets, future discounting mechanisms. We get so wrapped up in the day-to-day news cycle that we can't see past our faces to future discounting. It's wild. Wild to me. What else? What else?
Bitcoin, man. Come on. What are we doing here, Bitcoin? And it's below a relative 200-day now. So that needs to have an eye kept on it for all you trend followers out there.
Mm-hmm. And I find it interesting. Ethereum's cooled off a bit, but it's when you look at the relative chart versus Bitcoin, it's holding up just fine. So there's still some opportunities out there in crypto, but
yeah,
it's a fair point. I mean, Bitcoin is the largest capped.
Still above one. What is this, like 107, 108? These December 24 highs, and this. I mean, we just, in context, we were just at 123,000 2 weeks ago. They've walked this down pretty controlled. I mean, this has not been a waterfall. I'm not saying it can't go further. I mean, overall, if you were to pull up a weekly chart of Bitcoin, it's fine. This is just a retest of a pretty logical area.
Right.
Sucks when they do it this way, especially, and don't take me to all-time highs and then yank it back. That's a tease. But hey, I could say the market as a whole has been doing right. We've seen a lot of that in equities.
True.
Just like we had an all-time high yesterday. Trend's still strong, but
and it's interesting. You look at Bitcoin seasonality. August and September are by far the worst seasonal months for Bitcoin. Okay. So matching some seasonality here, I don't think we get to be uber surprised. And I'm not using the rainbow chart.
Got out the rainbow.
I'm using the actual data on the past 12 years of information that we have. That August is by far, it's only up 25% of the time, and on average it's down 1.5. In September, it's up 36% of the time, and its average is down 4.8.
Can't believe Bitcoin's only 12 years old.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. Kind of high beta, right? Acting like a 12-year-old.
Yeah.
Kind of all over the place. Still got to give it timeouts.
It is pretty, yeah. It's not slow and calm and cool and collected like gold yet.
Ooh, you're going to fire people up. Digital gold versus the young man versus the old man.
Yeah. The old man is a lot more better behaved.
Yeah.
I'm not saying he's as exciting. And you catch the young whippersnapper on a good day, it's fun. But yeah, gold continues to look great. I've shared the thesis. And I think we talked about it on here at one point. If you take a portfolio of 50% NASDAQ, 50% gold, very, very, very high correlation to Bitcoin. So that makes me wonder. I think about that sometimes. We're like backing into You know, if NASDAQ is going to sell off, well, in theory, according to that correlation, could be
When do you
tough. There's lots of different ways to think
when
about
do
it.
you when do you think about that? Do you think about that after saying your prayers at night, or do you like
Yeah.
is it halftime?
Mowing the yard.
Oh, yeah, that's a good time to think about it.
Yeah.
How do your lines on the lawn are a little squiggly.
Oh, yeah. That was that 5-minute period.
I'm thinking about that. But you know what? You look at a gold versus Bitcoin chart, and that is an interesting. Are we building out a pretty large base there?
Boy, wouldn't that be something?
The
Wouldn't
boomer
that be? That is.
the boomer coin outperforming.
See, how do you look at a chart like that and say that it's random? Two assets and their relationship continues to have inflection points at the same.
Same spot.
It's fascinating the memory that the market has.
Sure.
But yeah, I mean, gold over Bitcoin, gosh, it could be something.
Could be. And even if you like, I don't know if you want to look at, you could even, I'm guessing you could probably look at GDX versus crypto miners.
What do you use for crypto? DApp?
Yeah. Yeah. I was thinking DApp. I was thinking DApp might be a good one. You could look at it. Let's take a look. Maybe.
Maybe.
Or maybe it's gold miners over crypto miners. We'll see.
Yeah, sure. I mean, again, I'm not saying it's cool. I'm not saying it's the most fun, but you have to try and make money and outperform. So, I mean, I'm bet gold miners look good against a lot of stuff.
Yes, they do. I mean, going to have a fresh new 4-year weekly closing high versus S&P. Not too shabby.
Yeah.
What do you got for your 3-day weekend? We got Labor Day weekend. We rest from our labors. What do you got going on?
Boy, Dave, I cannot tell you how excited I am. Gamecocks kicking off in Atlanta.
Okay.
We'll be there.
You're going?
We're going. We're meeting up with one other, but we've got like 3 or 4 pit stops at different tailgates we need to somehow make on Sunday. So,
good luck.
Yeah, I know. And it's in Atlanta. So yeah, we gotta figure that out.
Just you and Kate? Are you taking the kids?
Kids are getting dropped off at Nana and Grandpa's house. And then we'll stay.
Love me some Nana and Grandpa.
They're amazing.
Nana stays on top of me on X. She makes sure.
Yep. What about you?
Nothing crazy. I mean, I'm going to enjoy the market closed on Monday. We have first college soccer game of the season tonight. Going to go watch my daughter play.
And tell them what other nice, I won't put it an award, what nice gesture your daughter was given by her teammates.
Yeah, she's got some leadership responsibility. She's going to be a captain on the team as a sophomore. I think that's quite an endorsement. Awesome. And as I told her, she shouldn't take it lightly. Leadership is a huge responsibility, so I'm proud of her. She's more than capable, but pretty exciting. And then we're going to head to Minnesota.
Be careful
to cheer on another game that's happening there, another soccer game. But it's football season's here.
Oh, yeah, fall soccer.
Mm-hmm. It's fun.
Michael Parsons got traded. Are the Packers fans? All the Packers fans at the office, they seem pretty happy. What a terrible trade!
Like I got out of soccer practice and my phone was blowing up with all my Packer friend buddies. And I'm a Minnesota guy. I'm a Viking fan. But yeah, the Michael Parsons, good for him. I mean, he got paid big money for a non-quarterback, and
dude, the NFC North is
stacked.
Dude, stacked. Poor Bears. Oh my God.
Yeah.
They're like the lone team out.
Yeah. Well, and I kind of feel like they should be okay. Like, I mean, I guess Caleb's having a good camp. And so, but I mean, all the NFC North is it.
You can't paint your fingernails and be a good quarterback.
That's a questionable practice. My daughters paint their nails. I'm not sure that I'm cool if my quarterback does.
Wear skirts.
Yeah. Kind of weird.
You can have your start. You can't have QB1 out there being weird.
Yep. Yeah, I don't know if is every team in the NFC North going to go 4-4 in the division?
Well, didn't you guys get both wild card slots last year?
That sounds right. It
So you had,
sounds like
yeah,
I
you
think we
had
had the
3 teams in the playoffs last year. I feel like.
yeah, we had 3. Yep. It's a stacked division. It's going to be really interesting to see how that plays off. Who do the Gamecocks have? Who are you guys seeing?
Virginia Tech.
Oh,
So
okay.
yeah, I mean it's a fun season opener. You're playing another P4 team. We'll see. I mean, Virginia Tech has had a pretty rough off season. I think they lost 30 guys to the
Man.
portal, and they replaced both their coordinators. Yeah, they've got, so we'll see. But Gamecocks we were at the season opener last year against Old Dominion, and it was a nail biter. So Gamecocks tend to not be great, but there's a lot of hype around the Gamecocks this year.
You guys got a quarterback.
I mean, arguably the top quarterback and the top defensive end in the country. So we gotta make it happen this year. We've got to make it happen. This is the year to make the playoff because I don't know if we're gonna get another shot at it.
You know.
Got to put it all together.
And VT, Virginia Tech, I don't even know what a Hokie is, but it's an interesting draw for your first game because, so how do you scout against that?
Yeah.
And it's still Beamer's kid, right?
Yeah, Shane's there, so I think everyone, of course, Frank will be there. I assume he will be. I don't know why he wouldn't be.
Meister's over there.
Yeah, definitely a lot of Beamer ball going on. Very good special teams. Yeah, we'll see. I'm very excited for. I'm like a kid on Christmas Eve. I've been excited all week. So, and my wife is very, very good at neutral site games. She is like 5-1 at neutral site games for South Carolina. So,
wait, is this on a spreadsheet? Are you tracking this?
But we used to go to a lot of games in Charlotte.
Okay.
When we lived in Northern Virginia. So yeah, she's a very good track record. At one point, she was like 4-0 at neutral site games and 0-3 at South Carolina home games.
So uninvited to the home games.
Yeah, which is terrible because those are the best. Those are the ones you want to go to. But we got her over that hump. I think she's got a 500 record at home now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Good for the marriage.
It is good.
Excellent. Well, Ian, I always appreciate doing these with you. I think, a quick summary is, could you see semiconductors consolidate here for a while? You still have risk on areas like aerospace. We talked a little bit about international, but, if people want to hear more about that, they can listen to last week's episode. But still remains a risk on environment. September is coming up here, is notoriously weak. But we said that about August, and that didn't necessarily happen. So we'll see. We'll see where September leads us. A close to another month, and can't believe that we've got not that long till Christmas. Can I say that?
Oh my gosh, dude. Yeah. 4 months.
Wild.
Third trimester.
Wild. But I appreciate you doing these. If you're listening to this and you appreciate it, share it with your friends, family. Give us a high ranking on your platform of choice. That means a lot to us.
Have a great weekend, everyone.